The bond sale identified specific projects. The bond sale documents are the city's commitment, and it's the basis of the bond sale.
$20 million, $13 million of it for our wastewater treatment plant projects, and $7 million identified towards three major urgent projects, which were three.
It was determined a number of years ago to sell bonds to generate the cash to do these projects. We were required to do a number of things. We were required to identify the precise projects for which the money would be spent. Several speakers said, well, why not use the money for a tank somewhere else, or for a smaller tank, or for solar power to operate portions of the system. And the problem there is we would be attempting to use the money for purposes other than what we contractually pledged to use the money for, and that's illegal. So I think we have choices, but I think our choices are either do the projects that we said we were going to do, or don't do the project. We can't shift the money around now and decide to do other projects.
Here is the Fortuna Public Financing Authority Water Revenue Bonds Series 2006. They can be found online, thanks to Google. There is a 2-page cover letter and then another 144 pages with an appendix. And in it, it talks about the water projects. Let's see what it says. On page 2 of the cover, it said, when used in this official statement, the words project and similar expressions identify forward-looking statements. Such statements are subject to risks and uncertainties that could cause actual results to differ materially from those contemplated in such forward-looking statement. In other words, when they talk about the project in the official statement, they're talking about something that could change. In the official statement itself, it says what the project is. It says a portion of the proceeds of the 2006 bonds will be used to finance certain improvements to the water system, including replacement of water storage facilities and upgrade and repair of 3 of the system's reservoirs, the 2006 water project. Again, we've already been told that this could change, but certainly we are going to do some water projects. Then in the appendix, there's some definitions, and among the definitions are the definition of water project, which means any additions, betterments, extensions, or improvements to the water system designated by the City Council. And specifically, the 2006 water project means the capital improvements described and such additions, substitutions, and deletions as shall be specified in a certificate of the city stating that such additions, substitutions, or deletions constitute part of the 2006 water project. In fact, I think at least one project did change a bit, the Holman Replacement Project. Let me explain. Our water rates were raised and the water bonds issued in 2006. That year, the City Council passed Resolution 2006-25, which declared its intent to adopt new fees, justified the rate increases, and authorized staff to send out letters. The resolution states that the city needed to implement $7 million of capital improvement projects identified in the 2005 Water System Hydraulic Study. The proposed improvement project for Zone 5, listed in Table 3-1 of that study, is a new 250,000-gallon reservoir to replace the Holman tank. This matches the Capital Improvement Program, or CIP, adopted in 2006. Project number 9122, replace Holman water tank with new reservoir. The next year, in April 2007, the Council adopted the annual CIP. The wording "or pump station" is added. 2 weeks later, a staff report listed the major water projects to be financed by the $7 million bond issue. The list includes a project to tie pressure Zone 5, supplied by the Holman tank, to Zone 3. The staff report states that of several different alternatives, the least costly would be to upsize the Zone 3 pump station. Then, in 2008 and 9, the adopted CIP listed Project 9122 as Replace Home and Tank Combine Zone 3 and 5. Since the 2005 study also recommended combining these two zones and sized the new tank to serve both zones, the intended project is unclear. This year, there's no mention of a new home and reservoir in the CIP project for Zone 5. Project 9122 is combined with the project to demolish the home and tank, which will be replaced with storage in the city reservoir on Vansel Street. The identified project, a new reservoir, has been substituted with distribution system improvements and storage in the Vansel Reservoir, a perfectly reasonable alternative. Do the bond purchasers care?
And as far as potential bond purchasers cared, more important to them was we had to identify precisely how they were going to receive a return on their investment. We identified that in this kind of a case, that water rates would be assessed or would be charged to water customers that would over time be sufficient to retire those bonds, that is, to pay the interest to the purchasers of the bonds.
As we had to increase rates to issue those bonds, let's look and see what the ratepayers were told. Here is a copy of a page from a PowerPoint presentation. Let's see, down here it says May 16th, 2006, Water Sewer Rate Workshop Presentation. And what does it say? There's information on the rates itself. The recommendation is to borrow money to pay for only the urgent projects. $7 million for water projects. A couple weeks later, a June 2006 letter to property owners gives one reason for the rate increase as to retire debt that would be incurred to finance the replacement and repair of critical water system components, such as water reservoirs and mains. Was the staff report on the budget, and in the noteworthy items was this: a commitment to continue investing in the city's future by improving and repairing essential water and sewer infrastructure projects. This includes implementing the $7 million of critical water system replacements and improvements, including the water treatment facility, upgrading the transmission mains, and replacing and or repair of the storage reservoirs.
Towards three major urgent projects, very critical projects to the overall operation of the water system.
When the council decides to award the bid for a new 2 million gallon tank for the Stewart Street replacement project, will they be honoring the commitment made to us, the ratepayers? Is there really a storage problem that the new tank will solve? Let's look at the reasons given for why building a new tank for the Stewart Street replacement project is considered urgent, critical, and essential.